Testing one, two. All right, what's going on, everybody? We're here again, another late night creep, another stream. So the title of this one is Tik Thot Censorship and Black Supremacy. I'm going to talk about a few things regarding, my opinion, my personal opinion about Tik Thot, and of course the censorship that they are doing with content creators. And that's, that can be applied with most of the platforms. I'd say Facebook or Meta, right? Instagram, YouTube. Okay. But more than all the platforms, I find that Tik Thot is literally the worst as far as the censorship goes. Um, yeah, so we're going to get into that. But also, mainly, I'm going to talk about a clip that I found. Somebody, biracial woman, shared this with me a few weeks ago. And so I've been kind of putting off this stream, but I'm going to talk about it now. Got some time today. And you guys can see with the thumbnail, the guy on the cover, this clip right here. I'm going to talk about this character here. So, and his TikTok, his Tik Thot profile, I think is New Era or something. And he calls himself a messiah. He uses a lot of interesting language here, thinking he's a god, he's a king, he's a messiah, kind of boost himself up in his ego, which is pretty typical. But we're going to be, mainly focusing on this and the black supremacist elements within this clip here, this guy, his channel. And the thing is with this guy, because he's spreading a lot of anti-mixed race rhetoric. And I reported the video, but of course, TikTok, they allow it. They allow it. And the reason why I thought about it, I kind of, pondered on it for a while, thinking about this kind of imbalance. It's like, why do they allow these characters up here, on social media to spread their anti-biracial hate, their anti-white hate? And of course, because of us, because we're half white, they, of course, them, the black supremacists, right? They're jealous of us. So they're definitely going to have some animosity. And I'm asking myself, why do they allow these type of people to have their platforms, right? Have their channels and pages on the social media platforms? And I came to the conclusion it's because they want these people to feel like they're basically a part of the system, that they are involved in society to the same degree as everyone else, when we all know that's not really the case, right? When you compare every other group and their performance, their manufacturing base, what they produce versus these characters like the guy you have on the screen, you can say, well, what is he good at? Yeah, he's good at dancing, he's good at singing, good at cracking jokes, he's good at entertaining us. These forms of entertainment. But what else is he providing to society that the civilized society can use? Then that becomes the main question. So that's the conclusion I came to, realizing that, well, the powers that be, the technocrats, the social media, the internet overlords, they want these people to feel like they actually are contributing to society. They want them to feel like they have something that nobody else has. So they allow them to blab their mouth on social media and spread all this anti-white, basically anti-civilization, conspiracies. Because this guy, he has this, narcissistic kind of god complex per se. Literally on his Twitter, or excuse me, his TikTok profile, his caption says like he's the Messiah. Literally, that I'm the God, I'm the Kang, the black man is Kang, and we the original people, and this type of shit. And also, I wanted to include on that where this guy has hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok, over 200,000 followers. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? It clearly, like, they chose him to boost him. There's certain content creators that they choose to boost. There's certain people that they want to win, and others they will suppress and censor and push your basically make it to where you're irrelevant within the algorithm. But you got characters like this with their pro-whack black supremacist talk. They boost them in the algorithm. You think of like Tariq Fraud Sheed. Tariq Fraud Sheed's a fucking idiot. He has a very limited vocabulary. Most of his followers are ghetto scumbags. They're so stupid to follow that whole FBA thing when literally they're setting themselves up for failure because how the hell are you they're trying to separate themselves and the rest of the world. You're basically giving them a reason to unite against you, right? They're not going to get reparations. You can count on that. And so yeah, I mean, people like that, Tariq Fraudchi, this character, these type of black supremacists, like within the algorithm and social media, they boost them up because they want them to think that they actually own shit out here. When you go to every major city across this nation, United States, it's that's not the facts. They're not owning shit. You know, pardon my French. They're giving all their money to the Chinese. They're working for their white massa. They're not really running anything. But when they hop on social media, they want to give this illusion that somehow they're the kings and queens and goddesses. Now, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking about people who, like this character on the screen, who espouse these belief systems. So, and because he's talking about mixed people, okay, mulattoes fall into that category, caught my attention. My ears perked up. So I'm going to listen. I'm going to talk about it. Like I said, I flagged the video. Of course, Tik Thot did nothing about it. But for me, I put a comment and a clown emoji, and they flagged it. They flagged the comment, said it goes against Tik Thot's community standards, and I tried to repeal it. They said, "Oh no, no, you can't put a clown emoji and call someone a clown." No, but I mean, it's just amazing. They do this on purpose. They do this on purpose. And there's other ways they do this in society, other social media platforms, basically to enrage white people, but also other groups as well. And the people who typically find success are these pander bears over here on social media. If you pander and kiss black ass, like you're going to grow your platform. But I have too much integrity to do that. I'm not trying to make a buck on this platform like that. I want people who literally, like, wholeheartedly support me. I don't want any fakes. I don't need the cash apps. I got other methods of making money out here. But yeah, if you pander to them, like look at the angry biracial. Look at that guy. The guy selling his soul. Every video he does, he talks shit about black men. That's his whole channel, and it puts a target on our back, for good, authentic biracial people who are just trying to connect with other biracials. It puts a target on our back when you have this biracial guy, this fake phony soldier, Jesse McBitch, whose whole channel is dedicated to slandering black men, right? And so God, and like, he's a pander bear because he's pandering to the insecurities and the angst and the stress of black women who are disgruntled with black men. He's pandering. There's a niche, there's a market for that. The divestors, or what I call the dust vestors. Okay. And there's a whole market for that. The BWE, because he's married to a black queen. I'm talking about Jessica McBitch, right? But a guy like that is detrimental to us because it puts a target on our back. He uses the biracial, label, but he's a pander bear. Like, I don't need your little Negro pennies. I'm not pandering to you. I'm not pandering to anybody. Especially, I'm not pandering to biracials because over here, I toot my own horn, but I definitely am. How should I say this? I'm going against the grain because when I look at a lot of these biracial spaces, okay, they promote feminism, they promote LGBT, and I don't do that shit over here. Not with my social media. So I'm going against the grain. When I look at Instagram and Facebook, all the Facebook groups, the biracial groups, quote unquote biracial groups on Facebook, when a lot of these groups are just pro lesbian, pro LGBT, pro black, okay, and they use the mixed title. It's already been hijacked. That's why I say mulatto. It's ultra specific. They haven't hijacked that yet. They want to demonize you from using it. And in other mixed people, when you have someone who's mulatto, who doesn't like the word mulatto, that right there is your first red flag. Okay, you're looking around like, okay, what is going on here? What's the angle? Either they're pro-black or they're pro-LGBT, period. Okay, so that's why mulatto for me works perfectly, and I'm doing just fine. But I want to get into all that. Said a lot. I'm not pandering for nobody or nothing out here. But I'm going to talk about this cat here because he's talking about mixed people. Okay. And everyone cries when you talk about the community or you criticize somebody. They cry and whine, racism, right? But of course, they can jump up on here with their hundreds of thousands of followers and talk about your mixed butt. Okay. But then they get away with it. They get, see, nobody challenges the rhetoric from what I'm seeing. I'm the one guy. So yeah, I'll be the bad guy for sure. I'm not going to let these motherfuckers get out here and just run their mouth about mulattoes without getting challenged. Those days are over. Look, I sat by. I'm like a lot of you guys in the audience. You know, I was in the comments, listening, watching other content creators. I sat back and watched, listened to people talk about us. Like, hey, hold up. You know, after all these years, I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to bring my ass up here, start talking about y'all. Okay. Start pushing back against the rhetoric. Let's go right into this. This is from Tik Thot, right?
Mixed people are the most confused people on the planet. They have
You guys hear that right there, right away. And he's responding to a comment. Genuine question: how do you feel about mixed people? I do that a lot as well. I respond to comments. That's kind of what the platform over there, one of their features. And the thing is right away someone asked him, genuine question: how do you feel about mixed people? And this pro whack Kang tells you mixed people are the most confused people on the planet, right? That's a common trope with black supremacists. They say, we're all confused. We're confused, right? But this is the same guy. He's calling himself Messiah. You have a lot of people like him, his complexion, or even blacker, who are calling themselves the real Indians, right? They're calling themselves the ancient Egyptians, right? They're calling themselves, I mean, come on, guys. They're calling themselves Moors. They're calling themselves the ancient Chinese, you know. But we're the confused ones, right? But this is good. This case study here, analyzing this is good because it only empowers us as a group to formulate new ideas, develop a cohesive network. It only empowers us. The main issue you're going to have is your interlopers, not only just monoracial infiltrators. You can see them far away. We all mixed. We all mixed. We all, you know, originate from Africa. We all mixed. So come over here and kiss my black butt. Like, look, it's easy to spot those characters. But the black identified pro black mulattoes, they're the sneaky ones, right? They're going to be your main opposition. And a lot of them are going to push in LGBT, pro blackism, right? So that's where the problems arise. Let's continue on with the clip.
have no solid sense of identity.
And he says right there, continuing, I'm going to stop a lot. I know I had a gentleman who was basically like, you pause a lot. You pause a lot. I'm going to pause a lot, okay? So he first says mixed people are the most confused people on the planet, which I think is bullshit. Not accurate, especially here in America. You have all these sources available to you. And for me, like where I grew up at and moving along, navigating society, what gives me confidence is I look around, I'm like, damn, so many other people are way, you know, worse off than me. Like, it's funny, even like white people, Caucasian people. I'm not saying most, but there's a community, a neighborhood. I travel a lot in California. I'd go to Palm Springs area, even Mountain Center, Southern California. And there's a town, a community there, a city called Hemet. And I'd see a lot of white people, right? A lot of white folks who are just on crack or what they call meth. Some people struggling. I kind of would drive through there or whatever in the town. Was like, damn, I'm not, my shit isn't that bad out here. Like, there's a lot of people out here who are fucked up. They got drug issues, you know, substance abuse, or it doesn't matter if they're white, whatever, they're Mexican or black or anything. Like, so I'm like, this idea that all mixed people are confused, I'm like, well, that's not, hasn't been my reality. It's sad that these people, these pro wax, they've took for granted biracial people's sensibilities, mulattoes, good heart and sensibility and willingness to connect. A lot of the mulattoes we call the standard mulatto, where once they become an adult, they become more kind of interested in black culture. That's been my case. A lot of mulattoes. That's why they have a definition, standard mulatto, just using it for this. But it's like they took for granted that a lot of us were sympathetic towards them and kind of sympathize with their plight. right? But they've pushed us out to a degree now. We're like, fuck that. I got to do my own thing. You can stay over there where you're at, struggling, crying, but I'm going to do something else. But that's why I look at that, like, confused people. And I'm like, I was doing you a favor identifying with your ass. How ungrateful. You're in the United States of America. How ungrateful to push away people who are your allies, but to say, like, oh, you an agent. I don't trust you. You an agent. An agent of what? What are you doing? All you're doing is dancing around like a baboon, eating chicken wings, playing video games. You're not doing nothing substantial in society. What am I spying on? Right? Because they use that term. That's their code word, that I can't trust you. You're an agent, right? What are you doing? That's substantial out here. You're here to dance and entertain. I laugh at that. Yeah. Like I said, they play and they use our sensibilities, our willingness to connect with them, and they use that, and it's done them a lot of harm, right? A lot of us are basically just distancing ourselves. Like, they're going to use terms, right, to try to destroy your efforts. They're going to say you're a separatist. I never said separate. I said distance myself to form an independent, self-sustaining, autonomous body politic. I'm interconnected in the world. Geopolitically, it's a big planet, multiple people, and I'm for sure international. I mean, I have students around the world, so I serve a global market, but I'm a patriot, I'm proud American. But this idea of separation, I never promoted separation. I'm distancing myself. I can stand independent alone. I don't need you. And shout out to the gentleman, John the Mulatto, up in Canada, where he said basically, and I love the quote, like, they need us more than we need them, right? They need us. And I just want to keep repeating that so it gets into people's heads, so they realize that this is a fact, that they need us more than we need them. Because their main tool and strategy now is to push you out and to pull you back in, to weaponize the one drop rule, to keep mulattoes under their influence. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. Just giving you some of that. Continuing on.
Black people that mix with these mutations of races, they say, I'm half this, I'm half that.
He said, okay, first, when he said that as mulattoes, we have nothing to identify, to galvanize ourselves with. Now, with this guy, this Kang, it's his skin color. He's going to mention this, that what he identifies with is the color of his skin. So he's a typical racist, black supremacist colorist, right? When a white person, Caucasian and Anglo-Saxon, says their skin is their uniform, their race is their religion, see, that's bad to these characters. When a white person loves being white, right? And they use their skin color as their tool of, like, unification, to a black supremacist like this. You see the double standard? He doesn't like that. When the white nationalist identifies with his skin color and his culture or his tribe, right? Anglo-Saxon, that's a no-no. That's bad. But since he's a black supremacist, it's okay for him to, because he talks about identification. He said, mixed people, we have nothing to identify with that, galvanizes stuff. We have a mulatto flag. In America, I'm doing my part with some of these other mulattoes. Like, look, we actually have history. We have a flag. We have a significant presence here. We've contributed to the development of America. We fought in all these wars, every war. Without us, I mean, the country wouldn't be where it's at and standing in the world superpower. Without mulattoes here, I'm not talking about Obama and Eric Holder and some of these token tools like Kamala Harris. I'm talking about the everyday mulatto that's working, with NASA and the backbone of America, the truck drivers, the military personnel. I'm talking about the everyday mulatto, okay? So we have contributed all this to the society. And then, like, talking about, I'm trying to uncover this and share this with people, is galvanizing. But according to him, we have nothing that unifies us. But then you ask him, okay, well, what do you unify behind? Is it a flag? No, it's his skin color. It's the fact that he's melanated. So this is a definition of a colorist here. Okay. But I'm pointing this out to say this because Like I said, I'm going to repeat it again. If a white person or any other race said it's their skin color, this boy would be crying and whining for the next 400 years. Okay. And I don't know if you guys heard or caught that because I paused it. He said mutations when black people mix with these mutations. That's why I wanted to share this clip too, because it's so blatantly racist and black supremacist. It's like, how does Tik Thot allow this on their platform? Of course, because like I said in the beginning, they want to give these people the illusion that they're actually important out here, that their position out here is not to entertain the rest of civilized society when that's really the case. You're here to dance and sing for us. You're here to entertain us. But they give them the microphone, the cell phone, they give them tons of followers to make them think that what they're saying is so significant. And he's referring to everybody that's non-melanated, non-black as a mutation. Just bold, blatantly, And Tik Thot allows it. Of course they do. It's a anti-American, anti-straight man platform. And looking at this guy, I can tell this guy has some sugar in his tank. Let's continue on. Here, that word mutation, he's going to say it a lot.
Black people that mix with these mutations of races, they say,
he said black people that mix with these mutations of races. Is there anything else that's more extreme than that? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, if a white person or any other group referred to these black people as like subhuman or use another term for them, it'd be like they'd have articles about it, right? They'd whine and cry. Having articles written about you, it does add some visibility for sure. I know even Elon Musk talked about that. He's like, oh, this company wrote an article about me, but that guy's a multi-billionaire. He buys a social media platform. Wasn't he going to go toe to toe with like Mark Zuckerberg or something? Right. But this is Tik Thot. Tik Thot, I think, is a Chinese interest. That's why these politicians are trying to get rid of Tik Thot. I think in a few states they banned TikTok. A couple states here in America. There's a lot about Tik Thot. That's why I know this is going to be a continuing discussion. I'm just, chilling up here tonight talking about this, mainly this clip. But there's a lot about Tik Thot, man. It's the censorship. They promote guys like this, these racist black supremacists. They can jump up here, say, when black people mix with all these mutations, they weaken themselves. And all these mixed people are the most confused people on the planet. He started out saying we're the most confused people on the planet. I'm sitting there like, confused about what? I'm pretty spot on. I mean, my lifestyle, my standard of living is pretty spot on. I'm doing pretty good. I don't understand, like, what the hell am I confused about? It's just we got to challenge the rhetoric, guys. I'm one dude out here. I ruffle feathers, and like I said, most of my detractors are not even these blacks. It's these black identified mixed people. They're numero uno, the number one problem that I've had so far in my social media experimentation. Black identified mixed people, they're the biggest fucking problem, period. Not these blacks. It's easy to spot them a mile away. Monoracial infiltrators. We all mixed. We all kangs and queens from Wakanda. I know I've seen all this stuff for years. I've studied these people. It's your black identified mixed people. Okay. They are going to be your number one opposition to developing something for you specifically. Period. Okay. Let's continue on.
I'm half this, I'm half that. Shut up. Either you're black or you're not. Either you're white or you are not.
You guys see the kind of binary thinking? It's like, I'm half this, I'm half that. Now, like I said, I like mulatto because it's an independent classification where it's basically an emphasis on the unification of European African, the wholeness being one. That's why I use it. I've explained that plenty of times in different videos on his platform. But to him, and he's a black supremacist, it's very binary. They're thinking it's either black or white, right? And they don't really, what I notice with these black supremacists, because they're weaponizing the one drop rule against mulattoes. They want mulattoes to serve underneath them. And what do you get in return? Nothing. You get to go to the cookout and get a crusty cornbread and some, dried up chicken. Yeah, that's all they can offer you. They're not going to give you no money. They're not going to offer you any business opportunities. They have no businesses. Okay. So all they can offer you is fake acceptance, right? And so, yeah, that's basically what you're dealing with here. That they have nothing to bargain with in society, and it's a interesting thing. Yeah, this guy is sitting there talking about when you're black or you're white. It's like, well, what about the Latinos? They don't see themselves as black or white. They see themselves as independent. They're Latino. What about Asian? You notice how they always conveniently leave out those groups? I mean, they weaponize the one drop rule to an extent. It's like, you know, they forget that there's all these other demographics. What about Samoan people? People who are like Polynesian, right, from Samoa, the islands, they don't even see themselves as just being Asian or Han Chinese or Latino. They're different. They're not black. They're not white. They're not Anglo-Saxon. They're different. I grew up in Southern California. There's so many different groups. Okay. People who are Iranian, they're not the fucking same, or Persian. They're not the same as these blacks or these whites or Latinos, they're a completely different group of people. They're an autonomous, self-sustaining group of people. But why is it that we have these characters, these black supremacists, they weaponize the one drop rule because they talk just like the white supremacists, right? Where they're talking, you're either black or white. The sad part is even these white supremacists, a lot of them, they even have more leniency and decency than a lot of these damn black supremacists, where the white supremacists, they acknowledge that you have Arabic people because they study history. These black supremacists, they make up fucking history. That's why they're calling themselves Hebrew Israelites. They're calling themselves the Moors. They're calling themselves the original Kangs and Quanes of planet Earth. Well, it's okay. If that was the past, look at you now. Look at you now compared to every other group. That's just not me talking. That's just looking at the facts, looking at the data, the statistics, comparing your performance to every other group, every other race. And I mean, this is like right in front of your eyes, guys. So, like I said, the black supremacists, they make up their own history to fit their narrative, their pseudo history from magical Wakanda. But the white supremacists, they actually kind of study history. So they acknowledge what I've noticed. Yeah, they acknowledge these other groups, Chinese and East Indian and all this stuff. But with these type of guys, it's very binary. Either you black or you not. Either you white or you not. No, I'm something different, homie. I'm mulatto. Okay, both of my parents, different group, different tribe. I'm something uniquely different. There's a lot of people out here just like me, millions, and I'm connecting with them every single day. And there's nothing you could do about it. I know you got the numbers. I'm talking about the guy on the screen. I know you got the numbers because this Chinese communist application, Tik Thot, is boosting you up, making you think your voice actually matters. But, you know, let's see how long this app is going to stand on its own. Continuing on,
And this pollutes our royal bloodline as black African people.
it pollutes his royal bloodline, his black African people. We've heard similar rhetoric from Dr. Umar Johnson, the Prince of Panda Express. Remember, he referred to biracials as like a virus or something. Basically, what they're doing is they're pushing the Chancellor Williams' black nationalist conspiracy theories about mulattoes, right? We're diluting them. And it works the other way around with the white nationalists as well. But the difference is with white nationalists, I don't see them on TikTok and social media boldly like talking like this. You got guys like Nick Fuentes. He's like Hispanic anyways. Nick Fuentes. You got guys like that, and these other characters who are on these platforms, but they get kicked off. I think even Nick Fuentes, they've kicked him off all social media because he talked about a certain group of people that you're not supposed to talk about. Okay, and we all know who that is. And but guys like that, like who push the whole like against race mixing or stuff like that, they kick him off the platform. But a guy like this, a black supremacist, they keep him on. Oh, you're good. The Chinese are like, oh yeah, you're good. You know, and just the status quo in the country. I mean, this is pro black, pro LGBT. For him, yeah, they're cool with this guy, right? And in the mixed spaces, the mulatto space, I'm a mulatto guy, so I'm talking about mulatto spaces specifically. But you look at these in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it's all pro black, pro LGBT, okay, all the so-called mixed spaces, black identified, pro LGBT, period. So I am definitely uh, an outsider in many respects, and I'm kind of a new cat. These spaces have been around for a minute. I've been making content for a year or so, and this is what I'm seeing. So they allow guys like this to get up here and talk all this crap about every other race, royal bloodline, the melanin African people royal bloodline, when it was his own people who sold his own to be slaves, and they're still doing that today, right? But it's the white man's fault. It's the mulatto's fault, okay?
we mix with these mutations of races, then we
When they hear them say that, when we mix with these mutations of races, and I heard this shit, I was like, wow, this is extremism, black supremacist extremism. And I report the video, I flag it, and Tik Thot, the Chinese communist platform, says, "Oh no, it's okay. Let this LGBT black supremacist talk what he talks." He's like a Nature Boy 2.0. You guys know Nature Boy? You heard of him? You guys remember him? Another black guy pushing all the. He looks just like him, spreading the same type of crap. Blacks are so special. They got melanin. All these other races are just inferior. They're mutations. It's all LGBT, pro black, LGBT. It's all the same shit, man. But these social media platforms, they boost these people. They allow them to get up here. That's the main thing I'm talking about. If you're a straight man, talking about pro family, patriot, right? Whatever country you're in, you're pro that nation, you're a law abiding citizen, they're going to suppress you. Shit. But the guys like this, they'll let them jump up here and spread their hate and venom. How the hell can you refer to other races, other groups of people as a mutation? Does that sound very appealing to you guys? And I know when I'm done with the stream, some idiot troll pro wax going to be like, well, technically, in theory, they are a mutation because everybody originated from the Kangs and Quangs in Africa. Like, you guys don't provide any sources, any data, nothing scientifically tested. It's just more pro whack, gibberish as far as I'm concerned. None of you people are scholars. You don't provide any data. You watch a video from some idiot on YouTube or some Google search, and you guys are still pushing it. I see it on Tik Thot. I challenge it. Whenever I hear some stupid idiot talk about the Eve gene and everybody originated from Africa, I always question it. Like, oh, so you're pushing the whole black supremacist stuff, right? The saddest part about it, because recently, like a few days ago, it was some mixed woman. I think she had Creole in her title. She's like a Creole lady, supposedly. She looks more white than black. That's the saddest part about it, is you got these mixed people. Now they're the confused ones, the ones who think that they're just black. Those ones who are sitting there pushing this whole Eve gene and this stuff. I'm like, wow, that's going to be your main opposition because they are the mules, the foot soldiers for the black supremacists. Okay.
go to these other races because we hate ourselves. We don't want to deal with the problems that exist within our own kind. So we go to another kind and say that, oh, they love me more, they support me more, they're here for me more. That's a lie because let me.
And he speaks in general terms, right? They love me more, they care for me more. He said that's a lie. He speaks very generally as if he knows, like, case by case basis. There's a lot of black people who will literally publicly have their testimonies will tell you, oh yeah, well, I got more love from the white people or more love from the this group of people, right? Versus black people is black people who is crabs in a bucket. Like, you have, that's not me saying this. There's other black people who have testimonies who will basically tell you, yeah, the opportunities, the job opportunities. It was a white person who, adopted them, a white person who sponsored them, helped them with their college tuition. There's so many stories and testimonies out here. But according to this guy, this black supremacist, okay, LGBT pro whack, he's going to tell you, oh, that's a lie. I'm telling you, because he's on Tik Thot and he's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I'm like, how the hell does that happen? How do you get that many subscribers, man, if they're not promoting you and boosting you in the algorithm so you can talk this shit? You can espouse these black supremacist, pro LGBT rhetoric, anti white, anti civilization. Let's call it what it is, anti civilization. You have this random guy talking about mutations. Well, why don't you go back to where you come from and stay over there? Leave the rest of civilized society alone. I don't understand how these people like think that this is appropriate out here. And we're all just supposed to sit back and watch. Because like I said, he started off, he's answering a question about mixed people, saying we're all confused. Okay, well, I'm gonna respond. My ears perked up. I got a whole file. I'm documenting all of this shit now. Like I said, the days of these people coming up here running their mouth about mulattoes is over, as far as I'm concerned. If I'm not going to be on YouTube or Tik Thot or whatever, I'm still going to have a website, still going to have a domain, still going to be publishing articles, still going to be publishing podcasts. You're not going to silence me. I will continue to document this and challenge this foolishness. And other mulattoes, they've already took notice. This is only going to grow, right?
Tell you, black man, black woman, the ones that's with these mutations of races, these
The ones that are with these mutations of races, right? And TikTok thinks that this is okay, guys. TikTok says, oh, yeah, this is okay. This is appropriate, right? And you wonder why the United States government's trying to ban the fucking app from operation. Is anti-white. TikTok is anti-white. Okay. It's anti-American. It's anti-straight, anti-heterosexual. It's public knowledge now, guys. Okay. It's public knowledge. If you're pro-black and pro-LGBT, you will get boosted in the TikTok algorithm. Period. It's very obvious, guys. Okay.
motherfuckers, they cannot understand you for who you are because they haven't been through what you've been through.
They don't understand you for who you are. They haven't been through what you've been through. You haven't struggled in the hood. You don't listen to Nipsey Hussle and give your money to the Chinese to get your chicken wangs and listening to Kiki Minaj. You know what I'm saying? They haven't been what you've been through. They ain't struggling in the hood. He's very vague, right? In his explanation. He said, these motherfucker, they don't know what you haven't been through. They don't know. And he called them mutations. I mean, Jesus Christ. People think I'm bad, which I am kind of bad, you know. I'm a biracial bad boy, but I'm like, I'm looking at this like, how do they allow this? Because with me, they flag my shit. You know, they tell me I'm a bi-racist. Like, yes, yes, thank you, I appreciate that. But it's like they let these characters just run around and think they're normal. This is not a normal guy. A normal guy doesn't run around here calling every other group who doesn't look like him a mutation. What kind of shit is that? I mean, what's that going to do for international trade and business? You want to do business with the world? You want to do business with other nations? To hit in his philosophy, his warped, twisted philosophy, we just all got to come together, all the blacks, and come together and be one people and be, you know, I'm like, that kind of separatist, isolationist policy that these black supremacists push, like they're all using white technology, white medicine, you know, white infrastructure that's developed, you know, they're using everything the white man's developed. Okay, all his technology and medicine, but they want their own little separate space. And we just got to get together as pro blacks and pan Africanism against away from these mutations. I'm like, you guys, this is fucking bizarre. This is bizarre thinking pattern. Let's continue on.
They can't love you the way that your own kind can love you. They can't understand you the way your own kind can understand.
They can't love you the way he's speaking very vaguely, right? Just generalizing. They can't love you the way your own kind can love you. They can't understand you, fam. They don't listen to Nipsey Hussle, fam. They don't understand you, fam, the way your own kind can. You know, that's very beautiful, especially when you examine the hip hop, right? You listen to some of these hip hop tracks, all the degeneracy and debauchery and just straight up filth with hip hop, right? All this promotion of fornication and violence that hip hop, this is all black on black shit. You know, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Lil Wayne, all the rest of the savages, all the stuff that they're promoting with that music, that genre, hip hop. Are they talking about love and understanding? But they got one or two maybe artists here. Oh, they got Tupac and all that, you know. But who capped Tupac? Who done him in? One of his own kind. Who sold you to the Americas, the Caribbean, South America? Your own kind. History speaks for itself. So it's very interesting. You hear this vagueness where it's like, oh, these other people, they won't understand you. They don't know you. Well, it seems like you know, seems like you guys are working out pretty good too. I mean, all the businesses you guys got. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. All the NBA, NFL, the hip hop rappers. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Working for white people, white managers. You got white PR, white publication, white companies. 90+% of you people work for whites. I just don't understand this thinking pattern where it's like, oh, they don't understand you, but you need them for money and resources, right? Your livelihood. All the hospitals in the nation are white owned. I mean, you got most of them are Catholic, a lot, and I wouldn't say most, a lot of Catholic. I think you got only two black hospitals in the United States of America. Howard's one of them, which is not going to be black for very long, to be honest with you. You got another, out of all the farms on the nation, you only got a handful of black farms. You need food to survive. You need healthcare, medicine, food, water, and medicine and energy. If you want civilization, you people don't really control that. You got to beg whites to get that stuff. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, how is this guy tripping? He doesn't look at the numbers out here. You're only fooling yourself. Everyone else who's actually reading, writing, and studying and analyzing, we're looking at you like, dude, but you know what? Like I said, TikTok, man, social media, they allow these people up here. And you look at the comment section, you get the comment section of his, I basically question a lot of the people. I was like, you're a racist. You're a black racist. I'm telling you, mulattoes, you got to start pushing back on them. Shout out to the Ant Report. I know the Ant Report's in the chat where he did a post about the FBA where they're basically xenophobic, anti-immigrant. They're racist. You got to push back because they want to tell you you're racist. Like, okay, that's fine. But guess what? You're a racist too. Okay, a lot of these black supremacists, they're anti-white women. Okay. And they got a track record of it. Make sure you get your screenshots. So you have your receipts. Okay. So they want to push the whole play the whole race card and say you're a racist. Well, guess what? Your monkey ass is racist too, boy. And we got receipts on you. That's the whole purpose of this documentation. We're already here now. We're already here now. I'm one guy. It's going to be a lot more after me. Let's continue on with this.
You. They can't see you the way that your own kind can see you. They can't touch you the way that your own kind can touch you.
I love that. That's funny, huh? They can't touch you the way your own kind can touch you. But what do you like? It's super vague, right, guys? What do you mean by touch? Because it's funny. You look at like, do I want to get into that? They can't touch you like your own kind. What the hell do you mean by that? He's got an American accent. I'm guessing Eastern Seaboard. Sounds like it. So he's on the East Coast, the United States of America. So I'm like, you're in the United States, bro. 75+% illegitimacy rate here. So this whole touching part, they can't touch you like we're listening to a Keith Sweat R&B track. What's that song? Nobody. That from Keith Sweat in the 90s, the R&B shit, which I like. I'm a fan of that Keith Sweat. I'm a 90s baby, so I like that stuff. And but like, he's acting like it's all this romance and shit, like can't touch you. I'm like, bro, you got a lot of bastards out here with no parental guidance. They have no fathers in the house. That's the number one problem of you people is you have no father figures to direct you and guide you. You don't work together. You don't have businesses or associations. Like I already mentioned, compared to these other groups, you don't have like hospitals or farms. You don't control the energy sectors. And all your politicians are bought and paid for. They're all owned by these special interests, by LGBT. They pushing LGBT and immigrants. All your black politicians, they care more about the Mexican illegal immigrants than the damn blacks who are even homeless. That's how bad it is. I mean, I'm from California, from SoCal, and out there in Los Angeles. Like I'm like, yeah, all these politicians, these black politicians, they care more about the illegals than the blacks. And you got a lot of black homeless out there in California. It's disgraceful. So I'm like, you don't control shit. So this idea of that, well, they can't touch you the way we can touch you. Well, yeah, you touch each other. A lot of you guys are locked up in prison. You you look at those rates, those numbers of a lot of you people getting thrown in a fucking cage. because you people touch each other, and not only inappropriately, right? What did the Queen say? Every 5.5 hours. That's like the divester kind of, mantra, right? Every 5.5 hours. So if it course to them, to the Queens, they're gonna say, well, you the men, they're the touchy, there's not so lovey, okay, with you people and your hip hop, all the violence you promote. So I know I'm saying a lot right there, but I'm just like all this vagueness here. Where they can't touch you the way your own kind can touch you. Okay, well, you guys touch each other, and it's like, but you don't maintain the relationship. You got bastard kids, bro. Whose fault is that? Is that the mulatto's fault? Is that white supremacy's fault? Or is it a cultural issue? Is it the fact that there's a degenerate culture? There's no formal code of conduct. There's no structure. There's no accountability. And there's really no value system. There's no values there. It's savagery. Okay. And it's not appealing to other groups of people. So now you have the mulatto speaking up, and we're not going to be silenced. All right. Let's continue on.
And they can feel you the way that your own kind can feel you. Then they don't have melanin to perceive the metaphysical aspects of your whole being.
You guys hear this goofy shit? They don't have the melanin to understand your physical aspects of your being. He looks like a young dude, a young kind of flamer guy, pro whack, right? Kind of nature boy, uh, apprentice, so to speak. But you guys hear that shit about this like melanin stuff? Like they don't have the melanin to understand you, to feel you. It's like we played, yeah, whatever. Continue on.
They can't. We are not the same. Our molecular structure, our cellular structure, our genetic makeup.
And he's not a geneticist, he's not a scientist, right? So that's the thing. It's all about skin color. He's talking about molecular geneticist makeup, right? He's talking about the melanin, because he talked about how mixed people were confused because we have nothing that binds us together as a group, right? And I already explained to you guys, we have history, we have a flag, we have other mulattoes before me who have literally contributed to try to build, to try to help connect us together, right? And so that's what I'm saying. This guy, according to him, because there's more tribes in Africa and black people around the fucking planet. They are the most divided race on the planet. Okay. But according to him, it's his skin color, his molecular and genetic level, his melanin. They don't have melanin, right? That to him is his binding agent to connect the kangs and queens and goddesses. This is like the biggest colorist I've ever seen. But I'm saying it's acceptable because he's a pro whack. He's a victim. He's a proud victim, right? So it's okay to push this racist, black supremacist, colorist rhetoric. That's okay. But if a white person says the same exact thing, they're going to whine and cry for the next 300 years. Okay. So that's what connects him, is his color, that he's dark skinned, right? Dude's a straight up colorist. But see, nobody calls it out. That's the funny thing. I was telling someone behind the scenes about that too. You notice how they talk shit about light skins? We're all supposed to kiki and laugh. As soon as you talk about their black ass, all of a sudden it's like they start whining and crying. You guys haven't heard nothing yet, man. This is fucking YouTube. And I'm from Anaheim, Disneyland. This is all like polished, it's funny, man. You guys think I'm bad now, man. You guys haven't seen shit. This is YouTube. I'm doing the best I can to abide by the community standards, but this is hilarious. Like they let certain people get away with the foolishness, right? And they choose those to punish, and they choose those who they want to boost. We know the whole thing is rigged. All social media, it's all rigged, okay? We all know this. The whole political system is rigged, okay? Just like, and I first want to talk about Tik Thot in the mulatto dilemma and kind of build a connection with the Palestinians in Israel, but I didn't want to kind of get too deep into that. Kind of want to keep that separate from what I'm doing on this channel. But we kind of just, I guess I can just glance over and say we can see how basically the media, how they kind of want to paint this brush about how like, there's good guys out there and there's bad guys out there. The good guys got all the weapons. The good guys are the ones attacking. They got all the weapons. It's like, oh, we see the same shit over here in America with social media. The good guys got all the numbers, they got the numerical advantage. The good guys, they got large social media platforms, but the bad guys, like me, I'm the bad guy, right? Small fucking channel, small platform, not that equipped. But the beautiful thing about it is just like the resiliency of a lot of people. You're not going to silence us. We'll just adapt, right? Let's continue on. It's about almost done.
Every ounce of our being is completely different. So to say that we are the same is a lie. And to think that you mixing with them is going to erase your problems, that's a lie. That only causes confusion.
It only causes confusion. But who sounds confused here? Me or him? Maybe I should do a poll. I mean, I'm having fun with this. Like I said, my position here, my job is to report this stuff because nobody else talks about it. All your other biracials are just trying to get along. Most of them just want to find a seat at the table underneath this guy. They want to be underneath this guy and just beg for acceptance. What type of existence is that? Instead of just doing your own shit, having your own thing going on, quality over quantity. I don't care about the numbers. Just bring in the good people, the right people who are solid. But most of your biracials aren't concerned with that. They just want, it doesn't matter what platform, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. They want to include everybody, all the pro-wax, the monoracial infiltrators, LGBT, all of them, right? But I'm looking at this like, you know, yeah.
Mixed people are confused. We
See that? Mixed people are confused, right? You guys see that? That's the most common trope you're going to hear from this kind, from these people, is that you are confused. But you analyze our situation, like I take it back to John the Mulatto up in Canada, shout out to him. They need us more than we need them. Who's doing better? Because of the one drop rule has been weaponized against us, we have been literally stuck in their group and we're calculated with them. So all of our achievements, all of our expertise, everything that we do good, scientific innovation, like Catherine Steffens, like the NASA lady, they did the movie Hidden Figures, all this stuff. Everything we do good in society, Charles Drew, the blood bank, everybody, it gets put as a black achievement. They steal all of your expertise and your wins and achievements and claim it as their own. So if we had our own independent category, we would add up and calculate our progress, our standing in society versus them. Who do you think is going to be doing better? Okay, let's call a spade a spade. Let's be real. If we had our own, classification, and you calculated us, our test scores in school, our performance in the workforce, our ingenuity compared to them, it's always been a landslide. See, they want to keep you underneath them. They want to maintain you as a subordinate group to use you. But with guys like this, he's helping us because he's letting us know we need our own shit. Because I'm one guy, I'm not going to even be anywhere near this character. It's funny, somebody put in the comment section of this guy's video on Tik Thot, basically, well, what do you have to say to mix people? They put a comment, maybe I can find it. They said something like, what do you tell mixed people? Um, I gotta find that damn comment. I should have like screenshotted it. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm gonna read it to you guys. I'm gonna just pull it up on my phone. It's so worthy for me to talk about this specific comment because I saw this shit. I was like, Jesus Christ. Let me see this. This lady puts here. There's a lot of these. Like I said, black supremacists agreeing with the comments over there, and I just basically call them all what they are, a bunch of racists. They say the royal bloodline. They're melanin. They got dark skin. They're melanin. They're kings and queens. But here they are on social media crying about white supremacy. It's Oh, and someone put a comment, how is this dude not banned? Imagine a white person calling any other race a mutation. This is racism in its purest form. Yeah, that was 11/20. So that was like almost about a month ago. Someone put that comment. Let me like it. It's like 47 likes. And let me screenshot it as well, because I'll share this with you guys in another video in conjunction with this one. But let me pull up the comment I want to talk about. because I just downloaded this video. I'm sharing it with you guys. Um, there's so much dialogue going on. I don't even know if I can find this damn comment that I saw. Crazy. I'm gonna have to go back into this, guys, and do a whole nother, not live stream, but maybe a video with some of the comments there. But getting back to it, lady basically said, "What do I do? I'm mixed. What do I do?" And I replied to the lady's comment, "Get the hell away from people like this." And I got more likes than that woman's initial comment. I was like, you got to get away from these people. You got to get the fuck away from them. Once you hear this black supremacist, my melanin's popping and I'm a dark skin and all this shit, get the fuck away from them. But you got to take screenshots, screen record, document it. Get away from these people. Their whole position here is to use you. Okay.
African people need to remain with their own kind and not have babies with them. Exclamation point.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. Your thoughts ain't my thoughts. Cut that bitch off.
Yeah, that's basically what I think about that. I'm going to drop the link, guys. If anybody, I see a bunch of you people up in here. And if any of you guys want to join me, we can talk about it, but I'll definitely get into some comments. Just give me a couple minutes. All right, guys, we're back. We are back. So I'm going to get into your guys' comments. I appreciate you guys being here with me. Going to get right into your guys' comments. See what we got here. So Celtic Mulatto shared a video, got the Ant Report. Shout out to the Ant Report. And we got
Spartans! What is your profession?
so the Ant Report's in the house, says what's going on. Good to see you, bro. Oh, you talking about the Community? Katie's in the house, yeah. And since you're here, Katie, definitely watch out for a video I'm going to upload. I actually already uploaded it. It's going to be released tomorrow in the morning. I tagged you in the video as well, so for sure you'll see it on my other channel that I'm trying to build up. But responding to one of your comments you left, I think it's going to be a good video. I think you can relate to it. Not only you, but a lot of us, I know for sure, will be able to relate to it. So I appreciate you being here. And so glad he figured that out for us all. Yeah, they make it easy for us. They are the original white man. Yeah, I've heard him say that they're the original Russians, they're the original Chinese, they're the original people of the Philippines. Like, they're just the original everything. How is that possible? How can you be the original everything on the planet, but like, look at you now? Like, the mental gymnastics we see is really just out of this world. So I want to on that note, actually, let me share this right quick. So I just took a screenshot of one of the comments. I was reading you guys some comments I saw. I'm going to get more deeper into this video in another video, because this is definitely like good material for me, right, for this channel. You guys can see that on the screen. And a comment says, how is this dude not banned? Right? Yeah, here we go. How is this dude not banned? Imagine a white person calling any other race a mutation. This racism is its purest form. Exactly, man. That's before I even saw this comment. I just liked it before I shared it here. I was like, how the hell is this? And I reported the video, guys. It was actually a mulatto woman. A mulatto woman, shared this with me. She's like, report this video. I was like, okay, yeah, let me check it out. It was a few weeks ago. I was like, how the fuck do they let these type of people up here spreading this venom and racism, is black supremacy? But that's okay. It's okay because they're proud victims. But you, as a mulatto, as a straight man, oh, they want you to toe the line. You got to push intersectionality, and you got to put the dark skin above the light skin because you got light skin privilege. You see, they got all these special requirements for you. You got to walk on eggshells. But then these people, I mean, shit. So I see, yeah, we got someone in the house. I'm going to bring you up. This is right here, life of a planner. As Rasta, you share so much hate. So, and I can tell by the picture, this is a dark skin, a black person, right? I can kind of tell by this this avatar, looks like I don't know, probably a woman, but I could tell the melanin. I can see the melanin in her skin, him or her. But it says, as Rasta, you share. Yeah, you're like, this guy. There's nobody more confused than this guy. He's saying all these mixed people are confused. Confused about what? And you don't lay out any. You're like, nobody gonna love you the way we love. I'm like, what? There's nobody on the planet that's more confused than this guy. You are literally a conquered slave. It's amazing, just the mental gymnastics and just how they gas themselves up. Hey, what's popping, man?
Bruh, yo, your delivery is funny as hell, man. Oh my god, bruh. What's up, man? How you doing, man?
Hey, doing pretty good. Just chilling. Wanted to provide some type of commentary for the public this evening. Definitely newsworthy. Like I said, I saw this video of this clip was shared to me by another mulatto over there on Tik Thot. I was like, why not just talk about it on this live stream over here on YouTube? Because crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, you make an interesting point. Like, that's why I don't really mess with TikTok. I want to get back into it, but it's just I know kind of they have that agenda thing going on, and like, they'll uplift people like him and LGBT and all that, the victim shit. But if someone like us go out there and say something real, it's like we're getting our stuff taken down. Like I got shadow banned within like 3 weeks of being on what's it called? TikTok. You know what I mean? So like it's clearly an agenda. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, man, it's crazy.
Oh,
I
for real,
think
man. Yeah.
I think that dude just like people like this, man, like they have so much, like they hate themselves so much and they just can't stand it, yo. You know what I mean? And I honestly feel bad for people like that, you know what I mean, in a way, because it's like they have to live with just hating. And not everybody's like that, but it's these specific types, like you said, like the pro wax, right? Like the pro black people, like they have this inner hate. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the reason why they hate on us so much, because again, we have something that we could draw that's not,
Right.
Black American ancestry. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like we can be proud of our Black American ancestry, but then be part of that European ancestry too. And they don't really have that because the European ancestry that they have comes from slavery. So they're not going to be proud of that. You know what I'm saying? And ours comes from consensual relationships. So we could draw on both ancestries, and they really don't like that. So
That's
yeah.
critical. Yeah, ours comes from consensual, where theirs is like forced. Hey, Katie, you're on camera. If you want, you can turn on your avatar. It's up to you.
Yeah, I know.
You don't have to be on camera if you don't want.
Okay. Okay.
For sure. Yeah, like you said, just before Katie speaks, I want to go on that. Like even another.
I'll be right back.
Okay,
I'll
you're
be right
good.
back.
For sure. Yeah, like what you said, Ant Report, where even that guy's own people is literally calling him out. You see the comment here where it says, as Rasta, you share so much hate. So even other people are looking at this like, dude, how are you trying to separate yourself from humanity? You're calling every other group a mutation. But like you said, man, hey, he's got over 200,000 followers on Tik Thot. You know it's an agenda. I'm over there on Tik Thot, okay, and just like you, they're shadow banning me. They're suppressing me. They're reporting and flagging everything I do. Okay, they want to destroy your message from spreading out there because I'm connecting with a lot of Dominican people on TikTok. A lot of Dominican people, they have a similar plight to us. I know you've connected with a lot of Dominican people.
Yeah, that's something. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that was actually a video I was gonna make because I noticed something. Like I went to DR with one of my boys, and he's black, like on both sides, right? And like I did notice a different treatment. It's not the first time I've been to DR, but it's the first time I went with like a black dude, right? So it's like I noticed the engagement that we had, like I had with the Dominicans versus what he had. You know what I mean? And it's a completely like a understanding. Probably in the same way if you went to Jamaica or like Ghana with somebody who was black, they might get more of a connection with the people that are there than you might. It was kind of like that. So I did feel that.
I don't know though, man, because I think I told you the story because we did a stream about our African experience, man. When in Ghana, it was in Kumasi, one of the hotel bars there, and all black people, right? The hotel staff, they closed the bar, like, and he served me a drink. Like, it was like a little bit after hours. He served me a drink. My instructor, my teacher, who's super dark skinned, Africana professor, he walked into the bar like 5 minutes after I got my drink. And I remember the guy who worked there was like, "No, we're closed. You have to go to the bar across the street or something like that." I've seen favoritism literally on the motherland for people like me. I experienced that firsthand where like they wanted to do business with me. He wanted to connect with
Yeah.
me versus, so it's very real. Like that's their own internalized
Well,
self-hatred.
maybe Ghana was the you're right about that. Maybe Ghana was the wrong country to name. But I mean, like maybe over here in the Western Hemisphere, like I have noticed, like maybe if it was like Jamaica or something, like again in DR, there was a instance we had where we went into this Haitian restaurant, and I noticed that the Haitian owner was trying to talk more to my boy than me and trying to teach him about, you know what I'm saying, like Haitian history, even though I asked him a question about Haiti, and instead of addressing me, he addressed this dude. So that's what I'm saying. There is more of a camaraderie amongst like black men in the Western Hemisphere that I've saw. But then when it comes to us being like mixed, and they see us and say, okay, you're like me, you look like my family. So they give us that camaraderie as well. And I feel like that's another reason why a lot of like people try to separate like us like from like Latin America. Because this is the funny thing, right? Like they'll say, hey, a Jamaican is my brother, a Haitian is my brother, we're the same. But if me and you say, hey, well, a Dominican, that's like my brother too, or a Brazilian, or they'll be like, nah, because you're not Latino. But it's like, wait, but you're not Jamaican. You know what I mean? But you're not Haitian, but you can unite with them based on you guys being black. But you're like, you try to tell us we can't unite with people being, mulatto, right? Or being biracial, right? So it's just a game they like to play.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. And you're smart enough to understand that it's a game they're playing, right? The trick bag, where they want to unify with other people based on their phenotype, their skin color. Like the guy in the video just said, his melanin. They want to be able to unify with all these African people around the planet. That's okay. That's what binds them, right? The melanin. But with us, if we want to connect with Brazilians or people from Dominican Republic, all of a sudden it's a no-no. So yeah, you see the game, right? And they're not really hiding it today either,
And let me
right?
say this, man. 80% of the tourists in the spot that I was at were dark-skinned black men, bro. I kid you not, man. Like they made up 80% of the dudes there looking for some light skin, mixed women. You know what I mean? So it was honestly embarrassing, man. I expected to see more of a mix of like tourists, but now I'm telling you, man, 80% when I got to the airport, it was almost like I was in America, like English being spoken more than Spanish. Like these dudes are over there really trying to get themselves a non-black woman. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's just the sex tourism. I was talking to one of my students from Poland about that today because he's works in a financial field and he travels a lot. I think he's planning a big trip over in Asia. But we were talking about different countries and stuff like that, traveling. And yeah, I was telling him basically like the thing with like Brazil and like Colombia. It's like the crime difference versus somewhere like Thailand. We're just being realistic. We're not bashing the people or the countries. We're just analyzing kind of how tourist relationships. But and I mentioned as well as like DR. I was telling him about how kind of the sex tourism, even there is in Thailand. A lot of passport bros are moving to Thailand now, but also the DR and stuff like that as well, right? So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's the difference too with us. Is because since us, like we don't have a fetish.
Right,
Like
right.
we don't have that fetish for women who are like the same complexion as, but like we don't have that because like, but they do. It's almost like they feel insecure. Obviously not everybody, right? But we're talking about a specific group. They feel insecure about who they are. So they're like, look, I need to splice my genes up. You know what I mean? I need to go to Thailand, the Philippines, and they damn near destroyed Colombia. Colombia is a mess right now. You know what I mean? Tourists are getting killed, kidnapped. There's this one guy,
Yeah.
Black American guy who's missing right now in Colombia. You know what I mean? This guy, and he had a Latina girlfriend back home. So he went to Colombia and just disappeared. So it's like, what are you going to Colombia if you already have a girl back home? You know what I mean? It's just crazy stuff going
Yeah.
on. But then you got these clowns, this dude on that you shared talking about don't mix with them. Oh, they're mutant. It's like, come on, man.
Well, You know, my suspicion is this guy's LGBT, bro. This guy right here, like with the beads in his hair and all this stuff. So it's like this is like a pro-black LGBT guy, like a nature boy. Because remember, nature boy is like the same rhetoric about our biology and our molecular system. And Nature Boy was the same type of shit. And he was LGBT. Nature Boy did like gay porn and stuff. So it's the same type of camp. But yeah, what you said about the Columbia, bro, I was telling one of my students about that today too, because I've seen videos where the chicks are like roofing, the drinks and shit like that. Like it's pretty bad, right?
Yeah, I seen that.
It's yeah, it's not good. We got
There
I
we
saw a
go.
video.
Hey, what's
Hey,
up, Katie?
made it back. How you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing good. Everything's good.
Great, great.
So Katie's a
Awesome.
California person too, right? I'm a SoCal guy.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a California girl.
Yep. I grew up in Southern California and I lived in Northern California. So.
Yeah, I'm from Orange County.
Okay, I'm from Ventura.
Nice, nice. So what's up with you? How come you decided to jump on the stream? I know you've been kind of a listener, follower per se for a minute. Anything
Uh-huh.
new? Anything new going on with you? Anything come to any like new revelations?
Just trying to pass your channel along to my sister and certain relatives and friends that I have a cousin that is in a biracial marriage and they have a daughter. So I've been passing on like a lot of your historical videos to family members just to kind of get people try to break through that dissonance, that seems to like be the candy coating shell to a lot of people these days, that cognitive dissonance, So I just enjoy your content because it's a lot of it is stuff that we've all thought about as being, biracial. And I think when I first found you, I had a problem with the word mulatto, and at first you broke it down for me, and then you had a couple of your guests. One of them was Flower, and another one was another guy. I forgot his handle, but the knowledge that both of those shows presented was just floored me, and it was really empowering, and it was just a nice sort of chunk of information and history to like chew on and get sort of like, I don't know, kind of changes a lot of things, in your outlook on life, and kind of confirms the racism that I've faced. I faced the worst racism from Black people, especially Black women, in my life and existence. And it's just nice to know you're not crazy,
Yeah,
So.
no, for sure. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're not alone, right? And like
Mm-mm.
the video I've uploaded, you'll see it tomorrow. Like that's my main message is you're not alone. There's a lot of people out here like you, and we've all had similar experiences, right? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and we're coming to terms with that. We're realizing that wait a second, we're not confused. We're not the crazy ones. We see
Mm-mm.
the social structure, we see the apparatus that's being deployed in front of us, that there's literally people using rhetoric and philosophies against us to keep us intact
Mm-hmm.
underneath their influence. And it's like we're real people, like we're not going anywhere. Our numbers are growing. It doesn't make sense to continue to play this game with certain people, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you presented that we had a box on the census, like we had a box, what? We had a box, like, and it was mulatto. I was listening to a few days ago. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're the twins. They're from Georgia. They're like a political commentary show.
Oh, the
They're
Hodge twins you talk about? The
the
Hodge
Hodge
twins?
twins. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were whatever they were talking about it was about 4 days ago. But they mentioned that their grandmother their great grandmother, that her birth certificate said mulatto. I don't know what what their show was about, but that popped out to me. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Being in Georgia, and it was the great grandmother, the timeline that would be about right from when they took it off. And I just think it would be. I want to see it like back on things, and what that would take, I guess, to politicians to make that happen. It'd have to be a sort of, I don't know. It just would be an interesting thing because almost like sort of stirring up the mix. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
no
the
pun
biggest
intended.
pushback,
No
the
pun
biggest
intended.
pushback
Yeah,
would be
no
the
pun intended.
biracials, though.
Pardon me?
The biggest pushback would come from biracial people, though. That's the
Most
Yeah.
likely.
Yeah,
Most likely.
because they
It's
want to
sad.
because they want to stay underneath blackness because they feel like they get advantages and benefits because they could kind of be the exotic biracial, person within the black group. But what I would
Hmm.
tell you, Katie, is that there are people out here that are literally pushing. There's a gentleman out in Las Vegas who's really
Hmm.
like pushing for this the classification component. So we do have a lot of people throughout the country who are talking, serious about this discussion. I'm just one guy, with social media. I'm doing
Yeah,
the
but
best I
you're
can.
doing it at least. I
I
think
think
it's funny.
go ahead.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It's funny growing up. So my mom is white and my dad's black, and um, growing up, she would tell my older brother and I to mark the black box when we were children, and we have a little sister who we have different fathers, but she's also biracial, black and white, different dads. She would tell my sister, who's 6 years younger than I, she would tell her to mark the white box, which I never understood. And I'd ask, and she'd never explain it. But um, it was just weird because it was that coming from my mom, and why I don't even know why I started saying that. Oh, because my sister she's very trepidatious about commenting or talking about our racial mix and just in private conversations. And I find that there was a documentary I found. It's from like the mid 2000s, but this black dude was interviewing mulatto people. Most of them were women, young women, like in their 20s, and I found they were all very like beaten down. They're in their like 20s, and all of them were very. There were whenever they started talking about the black part of their family, they would go into the dialect and the accent and almost be in like this very grateful state of mind, like, oh, yeah, I've been treated differently, but I'm so thankful. They're my family, and it's just like this
You're treated differently. Yeah.
completely, and having to dumb themselves down. I've had that
Stockholm.
experience
Yeah.
completely, and it's like their own family. Um, my mom distanced us and kept us away a lot from the black side of our family, but with no objection from my stepfather. He was very ostracized by his own family for being educated and not shucking and jiving, and trying to make something for himself. So he was kind of separated arm's length from them as well. It's just really interesting, the inter communita. I love when you say that. It's just the communita, their own the racism that they have to each other, let alone us.
Yeah,
But anyway,
intraracial. Yeah, for sure. Intraracial kind of discrimination. It's a crabs in a bucket. I think colloquially we can kind of refer to it. Yeah, the crabs in a bucket. They want to misery loves company. They kind of want to hold
oh
you down.
yeah.
The thing is with me is I'm kind of unique because I didn't really grow. I've always like I'm half black, right? Black father, the black side of my family. We're all similar in that respect as far as our parentage configuration. But I would always visit my dad and his family like on the weekends, right?
Hmm.
Like growing up, like I didn't solely grow up in a black community. I grew up in Anaheim, California.
Right.
Black people were the minority, but I had a black barber when I used to have hair. I had a black mailman.
Hmm.
I've always had black friends, right, in my class and stuff, but they were not the majority. I think that's
Right.
significant, the environment. So I didn't grow up around them where they could like bully me to identify in that capacity. I've always had the freedom, like, to this is who I am, either you like me or not. It wasn't until I
Hmm.
became an adult and I started navigating towards their spaces and I started to see like the strategies that they had and their kind of influence to kind of bully people. I was like, whoa, this is kind of weird. I'm not the crabs in a bucket thing, I'm not doing that, you know. But
That's
it's
interesting
yeah.
that you say that. It's interesting that you say that because I had to reflect on my own like upbringing too. Like I grew up like around black people, like Latinos, mostly Puerto Ricans and white people. But when I got older, I realized that the black people, like basically when I got older and went online, I realized that I didn't really grow up around a lot of black Americans like that. Like the people, like the black people I grew up with were Caribbean. You know what I mean? So I never really had to deal with the colorism. Like I never, you know, growing up, I never dealt with that. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't until I got into my 20s and then I hopped online and got into black American spaces where I was like, wait, what the hell? What you know, what's going on? Like, you know, what's all this racism out of nowhere? And I realized like maybe even like a couple years ago, I'm like, man, I'm like, when it comes to culturally, like I'm not really too culturally black American. You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't even grow up around black Americans like that. So when they're talking about this whole FBA, oh, we eat, you know, whatever the hell, you know, black eyed peas. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? I grew up around, you know, like I said, Jamaicans, Puerto Ricans. I'm eating their food. You know what I mean? Besides my mom's side of the family. So I had to come to terms with that too. And I guess I was lucky because some biracials, you know, don't have it like that. They do grow up around black Americans and they have to go, you know, get those like racist, you know, 100-year-old jokes and I feel bad for them, you know.
I do, man. That's why I think me and you kind of click, Anthony, because it's like, yeah, we both have that connection with both of our parents where it's like some of these biracial people, like I feel for them too. Honestly, some of them try to come for me, like they're kind of jealous on some envy stuff, but it's like, look, like I'm trying to connect with other biracials and mulattoes. Like I'm not trying to act like I'm that much better, you know, just it's not your fault who your parents are, right? In your circumstance, but I'm using my platform as an educational tool for people to kind of learn and to share experiences and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of mulattoes who like were only raised and socialized in black American culture. And it's very toxic. It's very defeated culture. Crabs in the bucket. I'm not saying all. I'm not saying all. I'm not an absolutist, but we definitely do see the prominent kind of prevalent, you know, thought process and culture. It's not beneficial to a lot of us. That's why you see with these celebrities who are not black identified, they catch a lot of flack, like Meghan Markle, the rapper recently. What's the lady from South Africa, the colored lady?
Oh yeah. You did your last couple podcasts on her.
I don't think
she's South African. Like it's a totally different fucking thing. And like Meghan Markle, her dad, that's what I hate about the celebrities is like like Halle Berry. I can't stand her because she's always denied her mother. And it's like, well, her, you know, I mean, your dad was kind of a piece of shit because he abandoned you guys.
Same with Obama, right?
I have a whole thing on Obama. I don't even think he's half black. I think Obama is something totally. Well, put it this way: if it came out what to be true, what I think about Obama, it would rock the entire world, and people would be like people would be like their brains on the floor, like what? Like, it's just I don't think he's half black at all.
Well, you found me through Amala because I was on Amala's channel. And I signaled something, and I think that's where you found me, right? I was over on Amala's channel.
What was she talking about?
She's like she talks about the politics from the right side perspective.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
that sounds like about something I would be watching or scrolling through.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I follow her on Instagram. Like I said, like she acknowledges she's biracial, but then sometimes she'll turn her and she'll say, "Oh, she's black." That's my one critique on her is the kind of flip-flopping. But you know, I get it in a way because she's kind of trying to get more black people on the right side with the political discussion.
See, but that's just lame.
She's biracial, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that flip-floppy thing. And
the Hodge twins do the same crap, though. The Hodge twins, you said it, Georgia, they do the same crap, you know.
Yeah, I don't like the shuck. You know, I hate that. It's so.
We should have our own lane. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't make sense why we have to, you know, like dip into their you know, they're a honey or whatever. I don't know how you want to put it. We have to do their
It's
thing. We should have
as
our
far
own
as
thing.
and that's why I like you're just such a breath of fresh air to me, because in other situations and scenarios, it's always a dumbing down. There's no like,
Humbling
even,
tactic. They want to
yeah. And
humble you. Yeah.
it's just, it's undignified. I mean, out of all the things, it's just undignified. And at this point, why, like the Hodge twins, I keep thinking of them. It's like, they have a presence. They don't need to do the whole shuck jive thing. And I guess, I don't know. I know it's such a different experience for the sexes as well. For you guys, for the men, for you men out there, being biracial is, and being around like your black relatives and stuff. It's completely like, it's just such a mind trip both ways. On the female side, my experience, it's always like a sexual thing. There's always like this undertone, like oogie weirdness that it's just, and it's unfortunate. So that even more so, there's just so many positives in order to, in favor of bringing our box back.
Yeah, for the
Just,
protection. Yeah, because if you're
yes.
calculated, yeah, and there's resources for you, the protection, yeah, and it's like
Mhm.
because if we're stuck underneath another group as black, like subordinate, they literally
Mhm.
they think like they think they own us, and they feel like, well,
Yes.
they weaponize the one drop rule. They're like, oh, well, the whites aren't going to claim you. You got to stay here and stay in your place, and they think they can bully
Yes.
you. That's why with social
Oh.
media, they have large numbers in social media. Like you saw, the one guy has hundreds of thousands of followers. They can
Mhm.
literally jump on social media and say that we're all confused, we're all mutations. They can
Mhm.
literally attempt to racially bully you because see, they
Mhm.
feel like we're like stuck with them. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not stuck with you people. I don't deal with you like that. Like I'm one
Right.
guy out here. It's crazy. Yeah. We got to change that.
No, that's
Yeah.
100% true. Because even like
Mm.
with me, like I got kids, and like when I like even like not too long ago when I went to my kids went to a new daycare, and they're like asking like questions whatever, because they swap daycares, and they're like
Mhm.
asking, okay, well what do you classify them as, like racially, right? And my kids look, their mom is Black American, but they look mixed, like they don't look black at all.
Mhm.
So like so I'm like they're white and black. I say, oh, you got to, like, they almost try to say we got to pick one. I'm like, no, this is what they are. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're, okay, we're going to put
Yeah.
both. And it's like, don't try to put them in a box, because if you do that, they don't, they don't look black. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, so I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't just put them in a box. And
And
then,
you can't, on government forms, you can't put two, because that nullifies the validity of the form if you put mark two boxes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a very awkward spot because we're not black. But then, like, in those scenarios, I guess a lot of the whole victim thing, marking the black box gets you money for college. I certainly partook on that. EOP program, that's an extra $300 when I was in college, a month, just for my books, expenses, whatnot. And of course I took part in that. But then going to the offices and checking in and getting paperwork turned in and whatnot, you're getting greeted by black females who give you the up and down, and they look at your paperwork and they get to that part, because they put the paper down, they look it over the paper and look you up and down. It's like, and then they go, but it's like this they don't look black, you don't look black to me type of thing. And it's like, well, um, there's not a box for me to mark. So,
Well, you're in
you know,
California. I know now more than ever. Like there
uh-huh.
is, I've one of my recent videos, I documented, I shared footage or photos, and this was based in California companies where they literally have a selection for check all that applies or two or more races. Because that I've always seen that in California,
Um,
where compared to other states, like I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada for a while,
mhm.
and they didn't have that. I applied for a government license out there, and they did not have check all that applies or two or more races. They had like four boxes. It's like, but
Huh.
California is more progressive. They have
How
like
long?
more. How long ago?
Yeah.
A few
'Cause-
years ago, for sure. Yeah, a few
Okay.
years ago. Yeah, they definitely have a multiracial or you could check all that applies option in California. That's the thing. It's a state
Hmm.
by state. When I talk to people like outside of the country, it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a pretty big country. In every state, there's different laws, but some of the states, the more progressive ones, they're definitely like making room for those of us, like all of us here on the panel, who kind of identify the same way. We're
Hmm.
mulatto, biracial, multiracial, whatever term you want to use, but we're not fully black. We're not fully white. So there is, like I said, California, I think, is a good state that acknowledges that, but not every
Hmm.
state does
Well,
that. Yeah.
Connecticut does too, but it depends on what form. Like you say, government, like if it's state or federal. Like state, yeah, they're really good with that.
Hmm.
But the
Hmm.
federal, things you have to do federal, it's still kind of old,
It's different.
and it's like, yeah, I don't see too many two or more races boxes. Like
Hmm.
even like the college I go to, they're like they got it really specific now. Like you can put Italian, like if you say you could put
Oh,
all of that
really?
stuff. Yeah, and but then I was gonna go to Arizona State like online. I was gonna transfer there, and I
Hmm.
noticed when I was doing stuff, they were like, I had to pick, like you can select the boxes, but you have to pick
Hmm.
one at the bottom. Like, what do you
Right.
identify? Even though you pick those 2, 3, what do you identify the most? So like they made you kind of do that.
Maybe
Would
it's
you
also the institutions at the same time, depending on like whether it's college or the courts or what have you, or if you're getting a job that's a government job, that probably has a lot to do with
Yeah.
it too.
what I'm going to say here as a gentleman, toenail breaker, who's actually shared with me Mulatto Cat. He's from like, I think
Toenail breaker. That's who. That guy has. That's who it was. The other handle that I was thinking of. Sorry.
he's from like St. Lucian. He's from like the Caribbean islands, but he's Mulatto Cat.
Hmm.
What he told me like a year ago, which I'm like thankful that he told me, he's like, basically, we have to challenge these organizations. If they don't give
Hmm.
us our option to check, we need to email them. We need to challenge them and tell them, hey, you're discriminated against us.
Oh,
You
that's
need A
true.
lot of us, we don't advocate for ourselves. We don't even advocate for ourselves. We have to do that now. Like,
Hmm.
no one's going to advocate for us. They want to maintain the status quo. We have to be
And
our own
now,
self advocates and email these organizations. Look, you don't have a box for me. I'm biracial, I'm mulatto, I'm
right.
black, white. I identify as this. I need my own box. Like, they'll
And
probably give
now
us,
is the perfect time with all this
yeah,
all this fucking
all
victimy,
the
you
trans and
know.
all this stuff. Yeah, all the
Oh
trans
my
stuff.
God.
Yeah. They're gonna give them the
Because
box. They're gonna tell them non-binary, they don't have to identify as male or woman, but with
right.
us, they want to
Right.
tell us you gotta check the black box. No, the hell I don't. You know?
Or else I'm going to sue you. I mean, bad publicity. I mean, they're also scared of being like outed for not being for being a transphobe. I say you're a transphobe. That applies to everything because it's so ridiculous. It's
It's
just all this.
crazy because Latinos, you could be a Latino and be 80% damn, Aztec Indian, but you can check
Hmm.
white. But we have a white parent, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yep.
it's crazy.
right. It's so funny. But toenail cutter
Breaker.
is that
Yeah,
the guy's
toenail.
toenail breaker?
Funny name, huh? He's a smart cat.
Well,
Yeah.
he's so smart, so knowledgeable.
Very eloquent.
I think
Very eloquent. Yeah.
yes. Okay, toenail breaker. Okay, I think I'm getting toe cutter from. I'm a huge Mad Max, like don't even kid. Huge Mad Max fan. So toe cutter is one of the bad guys in that movie series. So I
Yeah,
think that's where I'm transposing it in my mind. It's the
I
name.
did a few streams with him. He pops in every now and then. He kind of does his
Yeah.
own thing. But he's really a blessing, right? In these kind of spaces, you're like you said, even flowers. Because
Oh yeah.
I'm a millennial, so I'm in my early
Hmm.
30s. But like, there's other people out here who have like been in this discussion, been involved in these discussions, sharing information. So I'm just very blessed that I have people. Even a gentleman in the chat, he's from Jamaica. I think he's in the States now, but Celtic Mulatto. He shares a
Hmm.
lot of great information as well. So to me, it's a blessing to have these people who share this information. Like, their presence is needed. We need people to be
Definitely.
engaged. And like I said, what the whole like not just spreading awareness, but also self advocacy. Like with Toenail Breaker,
Hmm.
we got to actually challenge these organizations and institutions that they're trying to
Yeah.
discriminate against us. they're weaponizing this one drop rule against us. We have to challenge these people. Like, no, we're not doing that moving forward. Okay. We
What
Right.
do
have
you
a
think
voice.
about that petition, that radical Latino? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I heard about that. Yeah.
What do you think
What is
about
what was
that?
that?
There was a petition that this guy, radical Latino, not to say people's names and stuff, but he created like a a petition that said basically advocating for something. I forgot what he wanted for Latinos, but it also had like biracials on there as well to get our own,
Hmm.
box. And it did get over 100 signatures. You know what I mean? So I don't know what ended up happening with that, but it seemed pretty successful. I just wanted to know. I don't think I ever heard your position on it, Vanguard, but I remember there was a guy that they call themselves MGMs or whatever, and he was against it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is why I feel like people who are biracial, need to advocate for biracials, and let everyone else
Hmm.
that has the other stuff, all those weird mixes, and they want to create their, let them do their stuff, right? But
Hmm.
biracials have to work with other biracials to get this stuff done, because we can't have people kind of coming in and derailing, taking us off the,
Right.
off course,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
They're interlopers. You have people, like I said, your main opposition is going to be, there's black people who want to just now, because it's catchy, because they see us formulating a group. They're interlopers. They want to jump in and say, well, I'm mixed too. My great great
Hmm.
great granddaddy's negative
Yeah.
50% black white. So I'm a mulatto just like you. You have people like that now. But then you also have people who are like, both of their parents are mulatto. They have
Yes.
both biracial parents. But basically what's going to happen is they're going to say, they use the term MGM, which is multi-generational mix, is what they developed. But basically
Multi-generational mix.
they're more so black identified, right? They've been in the
Hmm.
black community, black culture. And what a lot of them are going to do is they're going to try to derail biracials. They want to use our image for their
Hmm.
social media. They want to use our plight, but they're going to use us. And then they're going to try to, it's basically, they're like overseers. And Ant Report's experienced this. They want to basically kowtow us and try to push us back into the black community to serve. And
What?
this MG,
Right.
yeah.
Now this is mulattoes that are that have got coupled up and had children that are
Well, it's a couple
as their
different groups. It's one group.
okay.
Okay, it's like one group who might have just been generations of light-skinned people, right? And they
Hmm.
may, you know what I mean? So like maybe some
Hmm.
people that are in the DC area, they have like these types. And then there's people who actually might have a connection to an actual white grandparent. And
Okay.
then every other parent is Black American. And it's those
Okay.
two groups are like one group.
Okay.
So some of them actually say, hey, my grandma's or grandfather's white, and some of them can't pin themselves to, like, if you ever heard of Yvette Carnell, like that
Mm-mm.
type. Oh, you never heard? Okay, so she's like
Mm-mm.
a Black American woman, but she did her DNA and she's like 35% white. And she's like, if you look at
Okay.
her, you're clearly, like, so it'll be like people like her, like the Hodge twins, right? It'll be like the
They'll
Hodge
call her
twins.
Okay.
mulatto. They'll call
Yeah. They call her mulatto.
yeah.
Does she look black or does she look mixed?
She looks
I'll
mixed.
show you what she looks like
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, so it's like
She looks
basically
mixed.
people like the Hodge
She looks
twins
mixed,
and
yeah.
people
Uh-huh.
that might have a actual white grandparent. So they're like one group on YouTube.
Okay.
And they like to use like the biracial image to push
Okay,
their
so she
channel.
looks like she could be mulatto, she could be not. I mean, she could be 35% white, or she could just be light skinned.
Or a black person
But
with that
she's
mixture.
black.
Black identified.
Okay.
And it's very tricky. It's very tricky how
Yeah,
this
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and the thing is, what I've noticed is a lot of them on that side. To me, the first clue is if they're against the term mulatto, because to them they
Right.
know that it's basically, you're delineating that it's independent from black. It's a separate category from black, and a lot of these people, they're black identified, so they include light skinned blacks. They say, oh, it's MLS. They say MGM, which is multi-generational mix. They also say MLS, which is mixed
Stop,
light
Parker.
skin. So they include light-skinned blacks with biracials just to basically serve underneath black. So it defeats the whole purpose. The whole point is we want people who are black and white, biracial or mulatto to have our own group, right? Because to me, if both of your parents are biracial, both of your parents are mulatto, black, white, they have a child, that's a mulatto child. It's literally the definition
Right.
says that as well. It's not very complicated, but you have people who are black identified who they know that we want to create our own kind of space, but they want to pull us back in. They're very sneaky. They want to use our image and they want to pull us back in to fit underneath blackness. I can go into this in the future. I don't want to talk about it right now, but it's inner politics within the circles, within these mixed.
Oh yeah, it's totally political.
It's a lot of craziness, yeah. Because I've been in these kind of discussions for a year, and I've been seeing some of these strategies with the more so black identified people, and yeah, it's to me it's very cut and dry. If you're biracial or you're mulatto, both your parents like. And there's people who say, well, I'm part Indian as well. It's like, am I a mulatto as well? It's like, well, basically, yeah. I mean, I'm not an absolutist with it as far as a geneticist. If you're 50% European, 50% African, I'm not asking for anybody's DNA test. My whole thing is, do you identify with us? Do you have a similar, is your goal similar? Do you want to be your own being?
Well, that's the key, right? Like what you just said. And I feel like that's what these other groups are missing. It's like they're not understanding that this is not just genetics. It's also a culture. It's also like the way you see the world, like the way you want your civilization to be. So it's like, it's kind of like people think it's just, oh, well, yeah, like you said, 50-50. It's not cut and dry, because you can have somebody who's maybe, 60-40 and they might, but their mindset might be more aligned with your mindset. So like, for example, like Dominican Republic, you can have somebody who's like, if I go over there, I would still kind of consider light, you know what I mean, compared to them, right? So it's kind of like, depending on where you're at. If you're in the big cities, there's a lot of people that look like me. But my point is like, but their mindset is different. And this is what a lot of pro-blacks point out, like, oh, they think they're white, or they think, it's like, no, they're just proud of their ancestry. They're proud of their culture and their civilization. That's the civilization they want. And you have a civilization that you want to, not everybody, but you want to participate in stuff that they don't want to participate in. They don't want to do all that stuff that y'all be doing in y'all music and all that. So it's also has to do with just, your again, like your culture, like your immediate culture, like how you see the world and how you want to live. Like I want to celebrate Christmas, for example. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like I'm Mr. Pro-black, biracial, and forget Christmas and like I want to celebrate that,
Yeah.
like,
you're not going to say it's a pagan holiday, right? And the thing is with you, Anthony, I can tell you're proud of your like European, your like Italian heritage, right? And that's the thing, like I think there's a lot of us like this, that we're balanced, that we take pride in our African and European hair. Like you've been to Africa, you've been to Ethiopia, I've been to Ghana. Right. So we take pride in our African and European heritage, and we try to find harmony and balance with that, where you have other people who are quote unquote mixed, or they're MGM or whatever. They look at their European like blood and heritage. They call it colonizer blood. They literally publicly.
Oh my God.
They look down.
What is with that?
They're black identified. That's
Jesus.
The issue is they're black identified, and they look at the little European that they have in them. They say colonizer. Like I've never identified myself. My own parent, my heritage is like colonizer. Like that's part of who I am. I'm trying to find balance in my existence, but this is a major discussion within these circles. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I am, my grandmother was Nepalese, and her people came from that area, Calabrese, Nepali. And then my grandfather is Irish. His dad was off the boat. And so I'm very proud of my ancestry on that side. I don't have much familiarity on the black side as far as like origins, but I'm not ashamed of it whatsoever. But I'm really, just amazes me how the stupidity of people's mindsets in that regard. I mean, the Irish were they. I don't know if guys know much about the near genocide of the Irish people and how they were likened to cavemen, as like blacks were likened to monkeys, Irish were likened to cavemen, and there was back in those days here in America. I mean, I'd say in many places, blacks got treated better than the Irish. There were signs in establishments that would say, "No dogs or Irish allowed." Like that's that's as low as it gets, in the scale. And
I think there were some environmental factors too, because maybe in the South it's just more kind of vicious racism for the blacks, but then maybe in the northern or Midwest, maybe for the Irish. But
it was all over.
Wasn't there a rebellion in like the post-Civil War with the Irish in New York, where like they had like riots, draft riots against black people. They're Irish, yeah.
I'm not sure. It sounds probably about right, because they pitted the blacks and Irish against each other because
the Irish were upset because the black Southerners were coming and getting jobs.
Yes,
and they were like they wanted jobs, but then they were getting drafted into the military. So they're like, that's not fair. Like, why are we getting drafted? And
they get to sit
people,
back and
yeah.
It's the two low. Yeah, but at the time, it's the two demographics that were considered the lowest on the totem pole. Both were expendable, quote unquote. And that's what they do. We've seen throughout history in our country that's what they have done to racial groups. I think that a big resistance to keeping us
subordinate
and grouped up with the
blackness.
Is that our presence in this country, our presence in society at large as well, macro and micro.
It defies the racial order. Yeah.
It also, I think it shows that America worked. There is no racism here. I mean, we are the result of a successful experiment, Well, yeah, and it debunks everything of the racial machine, the racism machine, quote unquote.
It debunks their separatist theories. I saw a comment from a lady who posted this on Facebook as well, where she was like, yeah, the reason why they hate us is because we show the world that literally Europeans and Africans can unify and have a successful union. We're literally the living embodiment of that. So we get a lot of hate from a lot of people, literally from everybody, the black supremacists, the white supremacists. We get a ton of hate because of that. We're literally the living embodiment and symbol of the unification of African and European. And we're just here trying to find balance on it, adults here.
I think it's pretty awesome. But
yeah, I like who I am. Katie, I wanted to ask you, maybe if you could go into a little more detail. You mentioned before you really tried to make efforts to connect with other mulattoes growing up, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
And you found some kind of hurdles with that. Like you found like some people, they were content with trying to build camaraderie with you, right?
With not. So this is probably about like the late 1990s or whatever.
A while ago. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was about, but for about, I don't know, for about between 5 and 8 years, there's this time period where I was like sort of in social groups. Like there would be another mulatto female that would like emerge in, we'd share friend groups or whatever, and like, oh, this girl, I know so and so. Do you know her? It's like, my friends would be like, yeah, she's half black too. I'd be like, oh my god, I'd love to meet her and like hang out. And this happened like with about 3 or 4 people in like a 10-year period, and they were all girls. But there was never, there's always like this weird resistance that I felt from them, that it was always white friends, I've never had black friends. I have one black friend up here. I live in San Francisco area, so I'm in the East Bay. But I have one black friend, and he's my family. He's faced his own sort of shunning, if you will, from the black community himself. But so we're kind of like, that the resistance that I felt, it's like they wanted to these other women wanted to protect like their friend groups, and it was all the feeling was like if we became close or there that they would, I don't know, it was like
They lose their
they
place
wanted to
in
so
black
yeah,
women.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, but our friends were all white. That's the thing. That's what I never understood. Like one girl, she was her mother was Tongolese, and her dad was white, and we even lived in the same neighborhood at one point. I lived down the street from each other, and she never, she would never respond to like, "Hey, let's get together. What you know, you want to go have like brunch or something?" Like there was never a return call or like a follow up from the other side. That happened to, you know, like 4 or 5 people, like I said, and I never understood it. My sister, my younger sister, and I aren't. I mean, we're close, but there we when we lived in the same city, there was never outings together. We never like, but I would consider us good, you know, friends as sisters. We're, you know, we don't have any. I can't, you know, we don't have any. There's no beef, I don't think. But yeah, but we don't ever. We would never go out together. We would never really, unless it was like a random meetup on accident, you know, at a bar one night or whatever. But that's just, and my sister is very resistant um to being a separating herself. You know, she knows she's not ashamed of being half black, but um she hasn't responded at all to like any of your video suggestions that I've sent to her. Whereas
Center.
my cousin is like, oh, thank you, I'm going to totally look at that. That sounds really interesting, you know.
What's a new
So
development? I think the consciousness is developing, this mulatto consciousness, as I'd call it. Like I said, I'm a millennial guy, and what really kind of inspired me was seeing people younger than me, like the Miss Mulatto, the rapper, and other like
mhm,
people who are Zennials, a generation younger. I started seeing them emerge and affirm their kind of biracial identity. That
mhm.
definitely inspired me. I was like, whoa, there's other people out here just like me. Like this conversation needs to be had, and
Yeah, it does
yeah,
definitely.
for sure, guys.
Because
Go ahead. Yeah.
oh, I was thinking about the rapper. Um, I think was it that girl Miss Mulatto? She was on that MTV like that rapping competition. It was like a,
I never
wasn't
watched
she?
it. Yeah, she was, but I
But you
never
know,
watched it.
okay. You know, it's interesting because I remember her from that. She was young. She up until now, or her career's like,
She's
you
still
know,
young
she's
now.
how old? Because I saw
She's like 25. She's young. She
really,
started
oh
early. She's like
man,
25, I think.
she has her ass out, and I mean, it's just
She got a fake
it's
butt. Yeah.
really bad though. Like it's, I don't know. I just don't like. I know rap is its own thing, but
It's
being a
rap.
female, light skinned, you know, black people always know that I'm biracial, and it seems to be this weird
But they weaponize
jealousy.
it. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, jealousy, for sure. And I get it from the
yeah.
men. I get it from the
Do
men.
you?
Well,
Do you?
because
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
it's funny because,
You
like,
guys do?
big time.
yeah, because
Okay.
the women aren't jealous of me unless they're like lesbian and they're attracted to
Mhm.
women, then they'll be jealous of me, right? But it's mostly
Huh.
for the men. I've had guys who are like super tall because I'm not a tall guy, but I've had
Uh-huh.
guys who are like super tall, like dark skin, but they'd still be jealous of me. Like it's just my complexion and my presence, like my posture. I
Mhm.
like who I am. I'm proud. Like I've had guys, dark skinned black men, who are like intimidated and jealous by my presence. That's when I started to kind of things started to click in my mind around like I call it my epiphany moment or my epiphany stage in 2019. When I came back from Africa, from Ghana, I started to question things like, well, wait a second, why am I getting this like this advanced jealousy and questioning everything? And yeah, even guys who are like, you would think they'd have everything to be confident about themselves, but they were always darker skin. A lot of them were taller, and I was like, just the jealousy is like it's unavoidable. Like you
Yeah,
have to say something about it. You can't just let it slide under the rug. It's just very public and blatant. But yeah, go ahead, Ant. You wanted to
I was
say?
about to say that's one thing that I did have to deal with is like I noticed it later on where I'm like, man, like all the people I had a fight with growing up, and I'm looking, I'm like 99% of them were dark skinned, black at the time it was boys because I was a teenager, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm like, damn. And even today, the majority of the people I beef with, not even beef, but just argue it online are black men. Like people literally trying to find information about me. Like you probably seen the strange people trying to just attack me out of nowhere. Like, and I'm having to defend myself. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So it is a lot of jealousy. It's like they see you and they want something that you have. And maybe they don't like your charisma or the way you look, but it's just like a constant trying to bring you down to, it goes back to that, like trying to bring you down to their level or how they feel about themselves. And it's like they have self-hate and they're like, look, I hate the way I feel. Why can't I feel the way they feel? Like they love themselves and I want that. And so they try to destroy you, really. That's really what it is. They're trying to destroy you.
They're literally trying to destroy you. And the thing is you have saboteurs. You have people who want to sabotage. They're monoracial infiltrators. They're black identified. They're black people. They pretend to be mixed. They pretend to be mixed to get into your space to destroy it, what you're doing. And they want to waste your time. They're literally, you got saboteurs. And they have a lot of self-hatred. It's very sad, man. Yeah. Like with Anthony.
That's a lot of power. That's a lot of power to have over to give over to someone.
Just your
what I'm saying? Like just your presence. I mean, I've experienced that walking into rooms, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that.
And that's the thing. You don't even have to
that threatened. I mean,
you don't even have to argue with nobody, attack nobody, give anyone a dirty look, and it's like you're an enemy. Like it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? I can't even just live. And that's why now, like, getting older, I'm like, man, I need to be around more people that are like me because it gets to the point where it starts to become dangerous in a way. You know what I mean? Where people are gonna just like, you know what I mean? If you're in certain spaces, like you said, Vanguard, you went to a Umar Johnson event or something like that.
Yeah, in Long Beach. Yeah, Long Beach, California. Yeah,
I did too out here in Connecticut. And I'm gonna tell you, when I went up in there, the looks I was getting, you know what I mean, completely hostile. This was years ago though, but it was like really hostile, like almost like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? And I'm like, whoa, this, you know what I'm saying?
I got some.
It's the danger factor is something I agree with you at.
I'm specifically talking about Black American. I'm not talking about because other Black different. Like I'm cool with Jamaicans and Haitian. Like that's completely different. But it's like something in like a lot of Black American men.
Like
American, women are like whatever. They got their own beef with biracial women. I guess it's competition. But with the men, it's almost like it's like with the men, it's like violence. It's like
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the violence. That vibe. I totally understand that. It's a different. It's being a woman. There's like
it's
a power over you thing.
Yeah.
So, but there's a rape factor that women have to be always constantly aware of. No, I'm not a feminist. I totally love men.
Thing.
Like you guys are necessary. But this particular, at being a woman though, I mean, it's just there's certain things and places that you shouldn't go and do at certain times.
No, I understand.
You just have to be smart about existing. Just period. But definitely. The Black American factor, the male, it's like if you, the damn girl factor, I used to call it. Like I would go to a club, let's say if my friends wanted to go out dancing or whatever, I'd be like, what's the damn girl factor? Like, damn girl, like how many of those am I going to get?
Interesting.
So depending on
the fetishization, and lust factor. Yeah.
And if you deter that, if you no thank you, you can be as polite as the more polite you are, the worse it is. And in my experience, they
don't like the rejection.
It's more, and it's really not taken well. And there's an aggression there that it feels different than other
men. Yeah. I think it's just the ego is so fragile. They can't take the no. Yeah, I know. Like I said, the perspective, the nuances are very different from being a woman versus a man. But I definitely sympathize and I promote the women here on the channel for sure. My goal is for us to work together. for us to have a sense of community, men and women, doing what we're doing right now, having a dialogue, a conversation, getting to know each other. This is the basis of a community, right? But yeah, like the
Yes.
word, like what Anthony said, Ant Report said about like they want to destroy you. I think that word is perfectly how he put it. It's literally that extreme where it's like I felt that too, where like a lot of them, they want to destroy you. Your presence bothers them. Like it's so extreme out here as a man. Like you got to basically have some balls and be a fighter if you want to survive, because it can get pretty real. Yeah.
Well, that's why I put that out on my last stream too, because I was like, I've noticed like everybody that I'm arguing with online are black men. A lot of them are older, some of them young, but it's like it's the same thing over and over. And I'm like, yo, these dudes are literally, it's like they're trying to get me to threaten them or something so they could use it against me, just so they could again destroy you. Like it's like they're trying to trigger you, and it's like, damn, man, like I'm not trying to be on that. You know, we're getting
So
older.
what
You know, and
yeah,
it's like it's crazy. Like, look, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't, that's why I made a live and I was like, look, if you don't like what I'm saying, don't watch it. And it's the same thing you guys, you know, you could say too. It's like, why do people watch your channel if they don't like what you have to say? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah. And we're not going anywhere. Like we're not going anywhere. That's the thing. Like with me, like I'm speaking to the younger people too. Like obviously people my age, older, like my audience is pretty vast, but like we're not going anywhere. And my whole thing is I want to give people a voice who feel like they don't have a voice. That's my whole mission with this, because I have I'm not confused like that one guy on TikTok saying we're all confused. Like I have a pretty good standard of life. Like I can travel wherever I want to go. I can do basically whatever I want. I'm a proud American. Like I love my lifestyle and my family and my friends and stuff. So this is a community service. I want us to feel like we have a place where we belong, because one of the things I've heard them say, our opposition, basically our detractors, they tell us, they weaponize the one drop rule against us and tell us, oh, white people aren't going to accept you. You have no place to go. Nobody accepts you. So my whole position is, okay, let me create a place where I have people who feel like they belong and their voice matters, their experience is validated. That's my goal with this. My social media. I want people to feel like they matter. Biracial, mulatto people are beautiful. Like we matter here. That's my goal here. Yeah.
It's in this, especially in this age that we're living in, this era of heavy narcissism and gaslighting. You know, validation is extremely important for a lot of people. I'm not confused. I find it really interesting that, like your video tonight, you're showcasing, like, I'm glad that he knows, you know, he's telling us where we're at, you know, in our mental state of self. We're just confused. It's just, I haven't been confused for a really long time. And it's just refreshing to have, like you said, a place to be and get some validation and hear other experiences from other mulatto women. You know, I'm not crazy. These experiences I've had.
Yeah, you're not.
It's
alone.
really
you're not
alone.
Well, the narrative, you know, the narrative is, you know, our black fathers left, and our white family rejected us, and I'm thinking,
or our mothers took the good men. Our mothers took the good black men. Like, really?
Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, that's why it really depends on your upbringing. Like, I come from like two like well-off people. Like I don't come from like, both my parents are six-figure earners. You know what I mean? Like I didn't grow up in extreme poverty. Like even the black people that I was around were not. They had money. Like they two-family households. You know what I mean? Like they were getting money. Like, and I'm like, so when I come on the internet and they're like, someone's trying to tell me my story. Like, what are you talking? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I remember Vanguard, you said one time, like, you go to like both families' house for like holidays. Like, that's the same here. Like, I go into both families' houses. You know, like I was on my mom's side for a couple hours on Thanksgiving, then I go to my dad's side for a few hours. Like, that's kind of how we finish out the night. We go over here and get some of the, you know, collard greens and stuff at the end of the night. But it's like I'm going to both sides, like, and I'm respected on both sides. Like I'm lucky I don't have a black American family that's on that self-hating, like, oh, they've never brought up my complexion, ever brought up my mix, never. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like because I got a lot of people in my family that did marry people who might have been white or Puerto Rican. So there's mixed people on that side as well. So it's kind of like I never had to deal with that. So when I go on YouTube and I'm hearing, oh, your black side rejected you and you're lost, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was always brought up on when we would go to our grandmother's, our grandma on my dad's side. My great grandmother, grandmommy, she was a beautiful, lovely soul. She was just one of the sweetest women, just wonderful lady. Was just very loving and kind. But everybody else, not so much on the black side of the family. They'd always make a point to point out mine or my brother's skin color compared to, so and so in the family. And my older brother, he looked I'd say he looked Iranian, if anything. he didn't look half black. Growing up, he looked Mexican, or he just looked like a darker skinned Middle Eastern. I don't know. He just didn't look half black. I was blonde hair, blue eye when I came out, and I was denied by my mom's husband at the time. So I couldn't have been his because I was a white baby, and that's sort of always the reminder of like how white I was, how light skinned I was always something that was always put out whenever we were over at my dad's side of the family's house for any occasion. And then my little sister was really odd when she was a baby. Like, she was terrified of everybody on that side of the family. She wouldn't let anybody hold her except my great grandmother. But anytime any of the black relatives came towards her to like, oh, let me hold the baby, she would just lose it. She would grip my mother or my dad, her dad, and just like, it was just weird. She never was like that with the white side of the family. I don't know, baby kids know things, but yeah, I was always pointed out, made topic of conversation from God. I think that there's a funeral I remember going to, and I was like 3 or 4 years old, and all the women were upstairs and all the men were downstairs out on the street. And I remember being just mortified and scared to death when all the aunties started telling my mom about what they would do with what they would have done to me back in slave days.
Wow.
Yeah. From
That's
the time
deep.
we were
That's
kids.
deep.
Yeah.
That's
And
deep.
that I was about 3 or 4 years old, and they just kept going on and on about that. And
Yeah.
that has stayed with me.
That's not right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was real mean.
I'd like to possibly hear about that in the future. Maybe, I don't know, privately or whatnot. But I think it's therapeutic if you talk about that, because, like I'm saying, your experience can connect with a lot of people. Like, that's what I'm doing here with this, platform. Is there's a lot of people who identify with what I'm saying. That's why I've been able to develop a kind of following per se over here. Like, you're not the only one. You're not alone. You're not the only one with those experiences. I think it's essential that your voice is heard and that you're validated. But I will say it is getting super late. I know for me and also for Ant, because I think we're in different times.
Oh yeah, it's like it's like 1:20.
But I'm gonna do some closing statements, guys. Maybe Ant can start first. You want to give a closing statement, then Katie, then I'm gonna kind of close things out. But go ahead, Ant.
Yeah, man. So I guess going back to the topic, like people like that, man, I think these people are just lost and they're looking for, some type of like they want some validation. They want to feel good about themselves. So they want to try to drag someone else down. But it clearly just shows that some of these, a lot of them are just like, I don't know, freaks to me. I'm not gonna lie, like that guy that you have. But it's like, it shows that they actually look at us like we're above them. You know what I mean? That's really what it is. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to do that to people that you think are below you. You're going to do that to people you think are above you. That's why with us, I noticed something, that they can say all this racist stuff to us, but if we say something, if we match that energy, we become racist. So I'm like, okay, so you're saying that then you're in your mind, you think of us as above you. You know what I mean? Like, you're not looking at us like we're below you, because why would you be offended if we match the energy that you have, right? And then it made me, and that's another thing I started thinking about. Like, this must be how, you know, I hate to say it like this, but this must how be white people feel when someone calls them racist. Is like, and they don't want to match that energy. They're kind of like, let me sit back and like, well, I'm not racist. A lot of biracials do this. They're like, oh, I'm not racist, because it's like, I feel like we have this thing, we like feel bad for someone who's like on this victim mindset, but we don't want to match the energy. You know what I mean? And then if we do match the energy, we become racist, right? So it's like, it's a can't situation. But I'll just say, man, keep doing what you're doing. I definitely, support your channel. A lot of people don't like that support your channel, man. But
They're not gonna like you supporting me, bro. They're not gonna
they've
like
been
you.
trying to get me to do this for months, man. But
They want you to fight me. They want you to be against me.
Don't do it.
no, man. I mean, I support what you do. I think you got a good channel. I even, back months ago, I was like, his channel. I already knew this channel's gonna do good, because you got the message. You're sticking to the message, and people gravitate towards that. So I just, keep doing your thing, man. And then, yeah, that's it. And shout out to Katie. Thanks for coming on. It's the first time I talked to you. I don't know if this is the first time you've been on, but
This
yeah.
I think I'm sure I've seen you or like last year, year before that. I haven't been on in a while though. I stopped getting notices, so I started getting them again. So I was like, oh, I forgot about that. So I'll definitely go add you. And stop by your channel for sure.
In the future, this is a good conversation. So
definitely.
Good night.
You too.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks, man. Peace. Katie,
All right.
I think you got some background noise. I wanted to mention it earlier, but it sounded like
do I?
It's all good. I mean, we're closing down now, but I don't know.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. But hey, it's definitely a pleasure for you to jump up here. I appreciate it. Because I've noticed you put a lot of comments even like a year ago, but then now you're gonna jump back up and starting to contribute.
I stopped getting notifications, like I said, so I wasn't around for a minute. So what can I ask you? What background noise? Is it just me shuffling in my chair, or
it actually stopped? I don't know. It sounds. I don't know. It's some feedback. I don't know, but it's okay. No worries. I'll try to figure it out what it is afterwards.
Are you okay? You're not hearing it right now, are you?
A little bit. But,
okay. It might be me shuffling my chair. I have it might be my wire, because I'm like connected directly to my phone.
Okay.
Anyway.
No, it's okay. I'll figure it out. Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate you hopping on here. It's been really good. Like I said, I made a video, so I tagged you in it, so you'll get a notification. Hopefully, you get the notification. But
yeah,
the video is gonna upload tomorrow morning. So
cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you for letting me come on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been an honor to have you up here, and I look forward to talking with you again.
All right, cool. I'll look for that notification tomorrow for the video.
For sure.
And I'm glad to finally met you. This is awesome. It feels good. It feels pretty cool. Anyway, I'll talk to you hopefully again soon.
All right, cool. Have a good one.
Okay. Bye, you too.
All right, guys, they're going to close it out now. We're a little over 2 hours deep into this. I really appreciate you guys being here with me, your engagement. Yeah, that's what's up. All right, beautiful people. I'll catch you guys on the next one. So, adios.